Hello, good morning. My name is Sarah Torino. I'm the creator of the Whole Woman Wellness Formula. I'm super glad that you are here. I've been playing a lot in the last 2 months or so, digging myself out of a fairly deep hole. And I'm going to talk about that another time, but in that, I have been exploring the idea of joy and happiness and seeking out joy and happiness within hardship, within difficulty, within injustice. And what does that look like? And is it possible? And in my own practices, what I really found and wanted to share was that it's not just possible. I think it's necessary. And so I wanted to talk about that today, and talk about the idea of holding both joy and challenge in the midst of hardship, in the midst of loss, in the midst of fear, in the midst of worry, anger, pain, grief, outrage. And so I look at it like a kind of a scale on a macro level and a micro level. Macro being in the world, in our society, in our community, in our families, in our people, and micro internally. And so I look at it kind of like a scale. On one hand, you've got all of those things that are coming up in our world today. We've got all of that. We've got all of that over here on this other side. And with that comes a weight and a heaviness. And in order to balance out the scale, both on a macro level and a micro level, it's almost necessary to seek out opportunities for peace, to seek out opportunities for connection, to seek out opportunities for contentment, ease, dare I say joy. And I believe that as humans that we can hold all of that. We have the capacity to hold both things, hardship, joy. We have the wherewithal to hold both of those sides of the scale, and that you can see injustice and be outraged by injustice and take action. And also, you can seek out the counterbalance of that for you, whatever that is, peace, whatever that peaceful feeling is on the other side. It's necessary, because if you don't, it can get really heavy and really, really weighted. So if we have the capacity to seek balance, I think it's really important to do so. And here's why I think the why of why it's important to do so. It balances the scale on a macro level. It helps to counter things. It helps to counter energetically things that are happening in our world today. It restores hope. I think hope is necessary during difficulty. It's important to remember in grief and loss and fear and outrage and pain that as human beings, um, it's almost audacious, but hope is necessary. And finally, it balances you on a micro level. When that scale gets too heavy, and again, I'll speak about this at another time, but when that scale gets too heavy, it can really throw things off internally so that you end up feeling really low, hopeless. And that's not a place that feels good. That's not a place that feels good, and it's imbalanced. So, of course, the next question is how? How to do that when there's so much heaviness in the world. And that's what we're going to be talking about over the course of the next month or so. We're going to talk about what does it look like to seek out joy. And there's science. There's incredible depth of science to support joy as a practice, seeking out contentment and joy and happiness and peace as a practice. And so I invite you to, hang with me and stick with me and keep checking out what's happening here, because we're going to be talking really about specifics about seeking out joy during all of this, because it's necessary.